Hello, everybody, and welcome again to the Get Ranked Movie Podcast, where every week we take a topic of pop culture and give you our rankings of it. We are your hosts. My co-host seems to be missing. What was it? I know I had something in my notes for this. Right. Beetlejuice. So corny, but it works.
It works.
It works.
It was awful, but it worked. Hello, everybody.
We are your hosts. I am Cody.
And I am Nick.
Or Beetlejuice. Or Betelgeuse.
That's right.
Or the man drinking out of a mug with his own face on it. A mug of his mug. Hey.
There you go.
I just have a mug of our show logo.
And for everyone to know, we've been doing so much pre-show chatter that my coffee is now as cold as this water.
That's fun. I mean, you've been drinking the coffee the whole time. You can just stage drink for the rest of the show. I realized I just did a stage drink. It's like I have a full mug of water here. And just
there you go.
You know, I watched a video online the other day. I'm just gonna hold this mug up because buy the mug of how poorly people handle full mugs in TV shows.
It's bad. It's really bad.
I think the one that I saw or the one that they focused on was somebody bringing in to-go coffee, and it was in a Starbucks cup or whatever coffee shop, and they're just flailing it around. They're holding it, and I mean they're holding it by the sides without one of those hot liquid guards on it. So it's
that's when you know shit is fake in movies, when you always see people holding their mugs like this, and it's like this is too hot to hold. I mean, this isn't now, because like I said, it's cold as hell now. But when I get a coffee right out of the Keurig in the morning, I'm not holding it like this.
No.
You know what I mean?
I'm holding it by the handle.
It's funny to me.
And, carrying it down the stairs, arm rail on one hand, hot coffee in the other hand, trying not to kill myself by burning my face with hot coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buy a mug.
Starting to sticky.
Starting to get a little sweaty in there. How long do you got to wear that for trick-or-treating? 3 hours? How long does trick-or-treating go?
I don't know if I'm going to do this for trick-or-treating this year. I did this a couple years ago. Last year I wore my pumpkin suit. I was going to do my new outfit this year, but it might be a little too spooky.
Too spooky?
Kids. I'm still going to use my shock stick. Because, people have to stay 6 feet away from me. So if you get near me, I'm shocking the hell out of you.
I will say I loved that in the beginning of the South Park pandemic special when Cartman's walking around with the stick 6 feet. I mean,
it was a good episode.
It was a good episode. But, okay, where were we? Do we have any news this week?
Not really.
I know there's some news that we can talk about when we get to the show that it's from, but we will.
I know you texted me that earlier, and I don't know what that news is. So we'll discover that together.
I'll let everybody know when we get there. So we will. This is a train wreck of an opening. Nick, why don't you tell them how the show works?
Each week, Cody and I take a topic in pop culture, be it movies, television, video games, what have you. And then we take that topic, and Cody and I both go our separate ways and create a top 10 list, our personal top 10 list based on that topic. Or if it's less than 10, we've done Lord of the Rings, which was 6 movies, different things like that. We don't talk to each other about our lists as we're compiling them. We might ask questions of each other of certain things, but we don't text each other and say, hey, my number 1 is this, get ready. So when we come to the show here and record live on tape, this is the first time he's hearing my list. This is the first time I'm hearing his list. And then we just go back and forth and discuss and argue and cry and come home happy. As Cody said at the beginning of the episode, this week's topic, in keeping with our Halloween Horror Month theme, that's right, this is for Halloween. I don't dress like this
You do. I've seen you wear that in April. Don't try to fake it.
Hey, the stripes are vertical. It keeps me looking thin. So as we said, it's our Halloween Horror Month. So this week we're going to be looking at some television. We don't do television much, but it's fun to do it every now and then. We are going to be looking at our top 10 favorite Halloween episodes of television. Whatever that could be. It could be reality show. It could be a comedy. It could be a drama. It could be whatever we pick, as long as the episode was a Halloween episode.
I got a lot of comedy on my list.
Mine predominantly is comedy. I think I have maybe a couple that skirt that edge.
I have one reality, one dramedy, and the rest is comedy.
Yeah. I don't think I have any reality. I don't think.
No Big Brother Halloween spooktaculars.
Well, the spooktacular scary shit on Big Brother usually is just how racist the cast members are every year.
True.
Which is incredible. The show is still on the air, because every year I go, I'm going to give it a chance and watch it. Because I watched it, back in the day. I watched it all the time. I liked it a lot. But the past 5 seasons, every season, there's just 2 or 3 people who are just overtly racist, and then the rest just kind of follow suit. They vote the people of color out usually the first couple weeks. So this year has been one of the worst. They literally, for the first 5 weeks of the show, only put up people of color until they finally got all of them out. And it's this is a little incredible that this happens every year. And they always give the bullshit excuse. We just haven't talked. I don't really have any game with you. So I couldn't put anyone else up. And it's I wonder why you haven't talked. I wonder why. How come you avoided them so you don't have any game or any, stuff to talk to them? Ugh. So that's the spookiness of that. But no, this was a fun episode.
Didn't expect the Big Brother tirade this year or this episode.
It's been bad. They voted out last week this guy who was the worst, Memphis, which, surprise, surprise, Memphis is racist. But I haven't watched it much. It's just literally the first 2 weeks started that way. And I was like, yep, I will see you next year, Big Brother. And maybe we can try this again and see if we don't have this same bullshit every year.
I mean, one of these years, either it'll happen or you will finally learn and just give up.
Well, it's a guilty pleasure for summer, kind of like I know when summer's coming, it's Big Brother. This year was pushed back, obviously, till it didn't start till late summer because of the coronavirus.
And they do it live, right, for the most part.
It is every eviction episode, so every Thursday is live.
Okay.
But like I said, to me, it was always, it's summer, just going to throw on just trashy Big Brother. Maybe I'll read during it or mess around on my iPad or whatever and play Candy Crush or something while it's on. You know what I mean? I'm not actually paying attention. Exactly. It's Big Brother. It's nothing special. It's stupid, but there's never anything else on during the summer, especially this year.
Right.
There's usually Hell's Kitchen or something in the summer, but that wasn't on this year. But back to Halloween episodes of television. This is a fun list to do because there's a lot out there, but kind of like past weeks or past episodes we've done, this was definitely one where I knew for a fact 6 or 7 that were on my list. I knew just from memory, this is my number one. I knew this is my number one. And then it was, here are some others I know I really like. They're on my list. And then it was just a matter of kind of finding some other ones online. Oh, okay, I remember that one, or having to rewatch a few or first watches of a few. Yeah, it was fun.
And I mean, that was me. I was I first thought a few of my favorite shows. I will contest that not half of my list, but almost half of my list may have came from Fox Sunday nights. But that's a lot of what I watch. I watch a lot of cartoons.
I was going to say something that's a spoiler for an episode we're doing after Halloween, but I won't.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, this again was a fun list. There were a few that I rewatched that I remember watching them, probably not when they were on, because some of them were 80s, 70s, early, before I was around, or even, during my lifetime that I wouldn't have been watching it. And I rewatched a few of those and just, it was a really fun list. And I even went, and as Nick was saying, I went through and looked and was like, oh, I forgot they did a Halloween episode. And then I rewatched it and ended up on my list, of course, because why not? And no, super fun. So I believe it's my week to start. So with my number 10, starting with one of my favorite shows. This is the only reality show that's probably going to be on either of our lists.
I can tell you confidently I have no reality shows on my list.
So the only reality show on our lists, my number 10, is Mythbusters Fright Night. Mythbusters did a Halloween themed episode where the myths that they tested were all, like horror movie related. So, can you smell fear?
I remember this one. Now that you're talking, when you said it, I was like, I don't remember what these were. But now that you say, I remember the smell fear thing. That was
can you smell fear? Can you just pick up and heave-ho a dead body around as they do in the movies? Can you dig a shallow grave in a half hour? And I remember watching this probably back when it was on, because I think I watched most of Mythbusters as it aired. And I loved when they did themed episodes, like, everything focusing on like a specific movie. They did How Many MacGyver Myths. They did a whole episode on Green Lantern, the Breaking Bad episode, even though it disproved.
And they actually did a second episode.
Mm-hmm.
They did 2 of them, which was cool. Hey, they disproved the big set piece of my favorite movie, but I still love Mythbusters.
Which set piece was that?
Damn shark.
That a shark can pull a boat?
Would not explode in Jaws.
Oh, yeah. The tank. I knew it was a Jaws. I knew it was a Jaws. They've done Jaws. They've done a lot of Jaws episodes.
Yeah. Well, because they always did a shark episode for Shark Week.
Yeah, for sure. And Jaws is just super convenient for something like that.
Well, there's a lot of shit in that movie to pull from, so.
Yeah, and there was, 4 sequels that nobody ever cares about? 3? There was only 4 Jaws movies? I thought there was Jaws 5. We can make Jaws 5. That can be your Jaws.
When we get sued, I'll get to meet Spielberg in court. And tell him how much I love Jaws as they're carting me away to jail.
This is why
because I will literally stand up and go, I am guilty. Lock me up.
I don't think that's a prison term. I think that's just a lot of money.
Yeah.
You work for a law office. You should know this. But no, I mean,
it was deal with any of that.
It was fun to see. Yeah, like the digging a shallow grave, something you wouldn't even think of, and them trying to, it was 2 feet deep, and can you do it in a half hour? And he couldn't. Jamie Hyneman is an Adonis of a man, but he could not dig a grave in 30 minutes. He could if he had a backhoe, but no. My number 10, Mythbusters, disproving everything fun, including Jaws.
That was always kind of the fun of that show, is they always just ruin so many awesome movie things, but everyone knows movie shit's not necessarily true. There were some things that it did in the Breaking Bad episode that they proved could happen, which was cool.
Good, yeah.
Like dissolving the body, I think they tested, and it's like, yeah, no, they did their research on that one.
Yeah, dissolving the body, yes, but I don't think it would have chewed through and collapsed the floor or something.
Not to that extent.
Right.
It would have, but I don't think in the time frame the show posits.
Yeah. And
before I give my 10, I'm going to take a drink of this hot coffee like a movie character.
So Nick's out of coffee and he's getting jittery
already.
Hot.
That was some hot coffee.
Oh
God! Remember Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and hot coffee?
The first time I said hot coffee, I was thinking if you would remember that. And it's like, I'm not going to remind him because this is a kid-friendly show.
Because guess what? We're taking a tangent. So San Andreas. I remember when that was a big thing that was so awful in games, and now you get so much of that stuff. Just
you do. Look at God of War.
Well, that was around the same time. I remember when that happened in
True.
God of War. It was around the same thing. But just nowadays you have sex in games and awful shit like that all the time, and no one bats an eye. It's just because those were the first big games to really do that, And
yeah,
hot coffee. Speaking of hot coffee,
I'm still mad. Grand Theft Auto or PlayStation 3 had 3 Grand Theft Auto games. Grand Theft Auto 5 has had 3 PlayStations.
3 PlayStations, I know. It is insane how they will just milk that cash cow for a decade.
Granted, we got Red Dead in the middle of that, but still.
still, they should have. I'm surprised there still hasn't been just give us an announcement of GTA 6, even if they say it's 2 years out.
Exactly.
Like, give us some idea that you're at least working on something new, as opposed to every time I see an ad during a PlayStation event, it's just for, hey, guess what? When PS5 comes out, you'll get to play this again.
You're gonna, and the thing is, people are going to pay $60 for a third time for that stupid game.
I'm not sure. That one might be backwards compatible because there's a bunch that's backwards compatible on the PS5.
Oh. They're going to have new content for it.
I know I did. I bought it for the PS3, and then the PS4 came out the next year, and I bought it on PS4.
I think I bought it on PlayStation 3.
That with Last of Us. I did that with GTA.
Yeah, I did that for, I bought it on PlayStation 3, and then I bought it, I think it was on sale on Steam for like $10 once, and then it came with like all of the other Grand Theft Auto games.
That's not bad. So
I actually bought, like, I think I paid like less than $20 for all of the Grand Theft Auto games on PC, so I was happy with that.
It's a good deal because...
Say that again? You cut out a little bit.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, though.
Oh, I heard it's a good deal. Really choppy, but no. All right. Live on tape, people. I'm not cutting that out of the video episode.
Yeah, give me a sec. I mean, you can keep talking. Just give me a sec.
No, Nick's internet is a little dodgy sometimes, especially as we get towards the middle of the billing cycle, because internet providers are awful.
That's right. And luckily, since we've been doing this, it's only really like twice per show when I see it come up and say my internet's slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but good that Zoom
what I was going to say
that.
was it's crazy that, and usually when that comes up, it's when you're talking, so I just stay silent. So then it's nothing really me cutting out. You know what I mean? So if you ever see me just... I'm frozen. No, it's crazy. Grand Theft Auto, like, you go into the PlayStation store, that game is still $60.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is insane that Rockstar is still charging full price for a game that is almost a decade old. Like, it's crazy to me that they still do that. Mm-hmm. But regardless, Halloween.
Nick, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is an episode of a show Cody just watched. My number 10 is an episode called Trick or Treat Freak from season 2 of Stranger Things.
I forgot about this one.
Yeah. So I think it was actually like episode 2, I think.
And the thing is, I remembered this when we came up with the topic, but I did not put it on my list, and I think I might get rid of Mythbusters for it.
Feel free. You want to do that and put it at your 10?
Yeah, I forgot about it. I just watched it all too. Huh.
Okay. Yeah, no. So that's Cody's 10 now. It's my number 10, so we'll share the same 10. So yeah, it's episode 2, I believe, of season 2. The big build up to season 2 of Stranger Things was that it was a fall Halloween themed season. The trailer itself used Thriller, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. It's still one of my favorite trailers for anything. I think it was just an awesome. I think it was the Comic-Con trailer. It was great. Although Stranger Things trailers for all seasons have been awesome. Season 3's trailer with Bob O'Reilly. Was awesome. Which I got that album, Stranger Things season 3 from Barnes and Noble the other day for my record player.
With that?
And it starts with that version, that version from the trailer. It's not the actual song, and it's great. But Barnes and Noble's records were all really warped, so I had to take them all back. The only one that works is the one I got. It's the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack.
So yeah, I saw when you sent me that video. It's like, he's turning into a record person. No. I wasn't going to for years. I always thought, but Mondo, the website, puts out so many awesome special edition albums of movie scores and stuff that it's like, I was sitting there looking at them at work one day and I was like, yeah, that could get me to get a record player. And so I went to Barnes & Noble that weekend and they had a Stranger Things record player. And I was like, sure. And like I said, out of all the albums I bought 3. Only 1 played because the others were warped and wouldn't play. That's sad.
But I ordered 2 from Mondo about a week or so ago. They're supposed to be coming this way. I got this awesome special edition of Halloween 2's score with a really cool cover, and then the album of Once More with Feeling, the musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay. I don't think I've gotten there yet.
I think that's like season 6. When you get to it, you'll love it. The episode is fantastic. I love Once More with Feeling. It is such a fun episode. But no, they did a Halloween episode of this season, and it's not the big crux of the episode. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it is in the sense that, like, yeah, the whole episode is them getting their costumes. They're dressing as Ghostbusters because this season takes place in '84. They have the fun little joke where the kids are arguing who gets to be
Winston Zeddemore.
Winston. And they just assume that Lucas will be Winston, which is a funny little joke. But it's got a lot of fun Halloween moments. You know, I love, hey, it's got a Michael Myers reference.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Mad Max jumps out at him dressed as the Shape. That's awesome. I love it. And I don't know. I just always like this one. It's one I've rewatched a couple times just around Halloween because it's got fun Halloween atmosphere. You know, it's got a good fall atmosphere with the pumpkins and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Cody, it's your number 10 now.
It's my number 10 now too. And that, I mean, just seeing them like getting their costumes together and say this is before they're trying to figure out who Mad Max is still at this point, right?
No, I think they figure that out by the end of the first episode.
Okay.
Because they invite her at school. They're nervous to talk to her, and they say, hey, Max, if you want to join us,
right,
we'll be trick-or-treating tonight. So I think they know by that point. They're trying to, like, get her to join their group and be friends with her because she's a badass.
She is. She has the record in Dig Dug.
That's true. That's a hard record to get.
It is. I've tried. I suck at Dig Dug.
I hate it.
One of my friends has a Dig Dug arcade cabinet in his house, and I was over there and playing it. It's like, nope, still bad at this game.
Yeah, I never was a Dig Dug person.
But
I'm a Stranger Things person, and that's why it's my number 10.
All right.
Trick or Treat, Freak, Season 2.
All right.
Moving down to my number 9. My number 9 is the very first episode of a series that we talked about a couple weeks ago. We talked about the movie version of this book series, but they did a TV series of this show back in the 90s, and it definitely shaped my love of horror. So my number 9 is the episode titled The Haunted Mask from Goosebumps.
Okay.
I have this on VHS. This was back when they were releasing like Goosebumps episodes on VHS, like just one episode, especially because this one was a 2-parter, you know, so you got like a 45 minute long show about it. Yeah. But it was considered the first episode of the series. And it still to this day is a freaky ass episode of a kid's TV show.
I never watched Goosebumps when I was little. It's too scary.
God damn it. Well, this one would mess. You should watch this one before Halloween, Clay. Download or rent, whatever you got to do, the Haunted Mask episode and watch it and let me know what you think because it's good. It's fun. You know, it follows the story of this girl in high school named Carly Beth who was always getting made fun of. She's always getting pranked by these guys at school. She's just an easy target. And she decides when Halloween, she's not doing that anymore. She wants to be scary. So she goes to this new Halloween store that's opened up in town. And this guy has all this cool Halloween stuff, cool masks. And she goes to go in the back room where she sees this row of really scary masks, like scary masks. None of the other ones are really scary. And the guy tells her, nope, those are off limits. They're not for sale. Get out. Well, of course, as kids do in these things, she sneaks back in that night, takes the mask, and flees with it. Well, guess what? It's a live mask, and the minute she puts it on, it starts changing her personality until eventually she can't get it off. And
like Jim Carrey in The Mask.
Well, Jim Carrey could always take it off.
True.
She gets to a point where she can't. And it slowly, like at one point, one of the scarier scenes in the episode is they go to take it off, and she goes, there's no seam. I can't find a seam here. Like, it's her. It's some scary, spooky stuff. And it's about her basically trying to overcome this evil haunted mask and trying to get it off, you know, and it's a creepy mask. Like, you could look it up right now, Cody, and see what it looks like in the show, as opposed, like, the one on the cover of the book was cool, but the one in the movie is freaky. I remember years ago when I was younger, one of my friends lived across the street from me, got the mask from like a Halloween store. And he was like, you want to wear it? And I'm like, hell no. Get that away from me. But no, I really want you. It's not a long episode. You should watch it tonight or tomorrow. One of these days, Cody, watch it. Just set aside the time to watch it because it's great. It's a fun Halloween because it's set on Halloween too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just Goosebumps. No, it's a Halloween episode. The whole thing is her getting a mask for Halloween, and
it looks like a Star Trek bad guy
with the teeth and shit.
The teeth and just the way the forehead or the crest on the eyebrows,
it's like a bulbous. Yeah,
it's like a Klingon.
Yeah, they did a sequel, Haunted Mask 2, and it's good, but it's nowhere near as good as the first one.
Okay.
But no, I love it. It definitely messed me up as a kid. I watched the Goosebumps movie the other day after we did our list.
He was in there too, or they were in that
for
too?
a split second. You see
Okay.
Carly Beth running with the mask, and it looks like a good version of the mask from the show. But they definitely deal with the haunted mask more in the second Goosebumps movie.
Okay.
They're doing more of like the haunted mask 2. As opposed to the first one. But no, the Haunted Mask is always going to be one of my favorite Halloween episodes of Goosebumps, and one of my favorite episodes of Goosebumps, period, because it still is, I think it's still a good, scary episode of TV that I still don't even know, my niece being 8, that I'd show her that yet. But yeah, the Haunted Mask from Goosebumps, my number 9. Cody, what's your number 9? While I take a drink.
I think my number 9,
There was still coffee in that.
I don't know if I'm going to get rid of my number 9 to bring Mythbusters back. I think I am.
You love that Mythbusters that much?
I do love that Mythbusters that much, so I'm going to get rid of my number 9, which was Nightmare on Grace Street from the Cleveland show, but now my number 9 is Stranger Things. Trick or Treat
Okay,
Freak.
so you just bumped it down to 9.
So I just bumped it down to 9. Yeah, I'm sorry,
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Coffee on my shirt.
Sorry, Cleveland show. You're a great show. Gone before your time.
Was it?
I liked it.
Was it a great show? It was okay.
The Halloween episodes were pretty good. They did a couple Halloween episodes. It's a great pancake, Cleveland Brown, and Nightmare on Grace Street, to where there was a actual serial killer, and
yeah, I think that's the one that opens with them singing "Tonight's gonna be a good night" in upstairs between Junior and Rollo.
I think that's this one. What I remember the most is the framing device is the bartender is telling the story, and he's cutting the meat for the sandwich, and it's Vincent Price's dead body.
Well, who better to narrate a Halloween episode than David Lynch?
Exactly.
Which is always one of my favorite jokes in that show, that they have David Lynch voice the character, and he's such a creep.
Exactly.
Okay, so 9 is
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. So what's your number 8?
Now it's not my number 8. So my number 8, still in Fox territory though. So my number 8 is Family Guy's Halloween on Spooner Street.
Not on my list, but it was close, and I'm also always very angry that they've only done one Halloween episode.
So proper. I mean, they did the Poltergeist parody.
Yeah,
Peter Geist, and they did another like horror themed one, I want to say, but I can't remember what it was. But Nightmare on Spooner Street,
is that the same one, Nightmare on Spooner Street, that's got where the guys go to write the horror movie? Is that one?
I remember the A story with Brian and Stewie trick-or-treating a lot more.
All right, well, you talk. I'll look at it.
I didn't actually look it up. I just remembered the episode. So, I mean...
I remember that part for sure.
I love how the episode opens where Stewie is seeing trick-or-treaters for the first time, and he goes... he gets terrified of them and starts shooting at them out the window with a machine gun. And it's a good...
Superman! You're Superman! Where are you going, Superman?
No, don't go with those zombies. So it's another good bonding episode between Brian and Stewie, because Brian takes Stewie trick or treating, and he tries to stand up for the bullies that are picking on Stewie, and they also end up pranking him, dyeing him pink, and this is the episode. The story with the guys is the one where they're pranking each other, and Quagmire pretends to be a kamikaze pilot.
Yeah, the one I'm thinking of is Peter Normal Activity.
Okay.
Which, as far as I know, when I'm looking, isn't a Halloween episode proper. It aired in October. Like, it technically was like the October,
their
quote unquote
episode.
Halloween episode, because it was like a scary quote unquote episode, but it wasn't a Halloween episode. If I was gonna pick one, it would be Nightmare on Spooner Street or whatever, or Halloween on Spooner Street. And
I do have a couple on my list just to say that are like a Halloween episode or a scary episode or a horror parody that didn't air around Halloween, honestly, but I think they rerun around Halloween.
Yeah.
For later on my list. Fine. But no, the Halloween on Spooner Street, the pranking contest between the guys and Quagmire getting in the old plane and pretending to be a kamikaze pilot descendant. And the very end when Lois sticks up to the bully's mom, and it's like, I'll be back for double the money or something.
No, I like
The
this one a
Monty
lot. I like
Python
it's got some really good Halloween atmosphere. I like Stewie and Brian just walking around the neighborhood at night. You know what I
Seeing
mean?
all there's, I mean, I can't name any offhand, but I'm sure there's a bunch of like pop culture references in the other costumes the kids are wearing, and like
Yeah, I'm sure.
they
You
can
also
hide
have
that
the other
stuff.
story of Meg and Chris going to the Halloween party and them making out in the
Yeah,
closet together.
yeah.
That one's fun.
I like to
One of
forget
my
about that
favorite.
one.
It's funny.
It's funny. It's gross.
I think that's the same episode. It's got the joke with Bill Clinton, right? Or is that
Probably.
an older one I'm thinking of where Bill Clinton, or it's like, how about your turn, guy dressed as Bill Clinton? Oh yeah, guy dressed as.
I think that's this episode. Yeah.
No, if there was this was definitely top 15. There were others I like more. It's just has always depressed me. Family Guy has only done one proper Halloween episode. And I will never doing this list this week has brought to my attention how many shows I went to look at to see if they've done one, and they haven't. And it's like I don't get how you could be a TV show and not want to do a Halloween episode.
That airs fall. That's in fall sweeps.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like they always do Christmas episodes, which Christmas is great fodder for episodes of any TV show because it's just a fun holiday.
Even
season.
Thanksgiving episodes, like Family Guy's had 2 or 3 Thanksgiving episodes.
Yeah. Family Guy's Christmas episodes are great. Road to the North Pole is a must-watch for me every holiday season. I love Road to the North Pole. I get that damn Christmas Time is Killing Us song stuck in my head all the time. But I just don't get when I look at these shows, then they've never done a Halloween episode. Family Guy is always the one that bewilders me if they've done one proper Halloween episode. And it's like
they probably knew they were always competing with The Simpsons.
Yeah, but Simpsons doesn't do a Halloween episode. They do. I mean, it's Treehouse of Horror. It's on Halloween usually, but the episodes very rarely are set on Halloween. They're just spooky.
They're just horror parodies.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, they could.
That.
It's just it's always blown my mind that they've done one, but it's a good one.
That's a good one. And
I like Stewie pulling out the rocket launcher, just biffing it.
Yeah, fun episode. So that's my number 8.
All right, my number 8's an animated TV series too.
All right,
my number 8 is an episode from South Park called Pink Eye.
You know, I saw that there was a boatload of South Park Halloween episodes. I never watched South Park growing up. I've watched a lot of it recently, but I could not remember seeing if I've seen any of the Halloween episodes.
I'm changing my 8. It's still a South Park episode, but I'm not doing Pink Eye anymore. I'm doing A Nightmare on FaceTime.
Okay.
That's my new number 8.
I had
still
Pink written.
But while we were but you bringing up how many episodes they've done made me think back to which ones there were, and I remembered Nightmare on FaceTime, and I love that one much more. Pink Eye's a good one because it's a Night of the Living Dead parody. They also did Korn's Groovy Pirate Ghost Mystery, which that one's just fun as hell. But I'm going with Nightmare on FaceTime for that one, which I don't remember what season that is. Maybe 15 or something like that. But
I can look it up while you talk.
I think you've seen this one, or I made you watch this one. This is the Shining parody episode where Randy buys a Blockbuster.
Oh, yeah.
And starts to lose his mind like The Shining because no one's coming to rent movies anymore, no physical movies anymore.
Because it was like after the Blockbuster fallout.
Yeah.
And
correct.
I have seen this episode.
I love this episode. It truly is one of my favorite South Park episodes in general, but I just think it's a great Halloween episode because that's the one story. And the other story is Stan and his friends getting ready for Halloween. They're going to go as the Avengers, which is fun. You know, I think Kyle is Thor. Kenny, of course, is Iron Man, so we can wear the mask. Captain America is Stan, and Cartman's Hulk. And I love they go to a house and they open the door, and the guy goes, "Oh, look, it's the Avengers: Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Bruce Valanche." I'm the Hulk. Oh, okay. It kills me every time. And Bruce Valanche, because so many people that watch South Park now probably have no clue who Bruce Valanche is.
Hollywood Squares is all I know him from.
Yeah. But it's fun because they call it Nightmare on FaceTime because Randy is so obsessed. You know, like I said, it's a parody to Shining down to where the title cards come up and say, you know, Thursday or Friday. And one of my favorite moments is they cut, and it's the shot from The Shining where Nicholson's sitting there looking out the window and it cuts to Randy doing that same thing. And I love the moment when it shows 2 kids outside playing with a ball and it goes rolling up to the store, and he goes, "Oh, it landed over there. Well, go get it." I'm not going down there. You see the door open and Randy pops out. "There's someone there. Hey, you got your kids want to come rent a movie?" And they start screaming and run away because they think it's haunted because no one goes there. But, you know, Randy forces Stan to work on Halloween because Halloween's the biggest horror night of the year. People are going to want to rent horror movies, so Stan has to go trick-or-treating by FaceTime. They tape a iPad to like
a wagon,
motorized scooter or wagon or something, right? So that he can FaceTime. And the best part is Randy takes it and starts just rampaging through the town, but it's not him. He goes as like Gangnam Style, I think, because that was when Gangnam Style was really big. Yeah, he's Gangnam Style. There's a great joke in that episode where I love where he smashes through the window of two little kids' house and they're watching Halloween. He goes, "Oh, you're watching Halloween? Oh, you're streaming Halloween 4, huh?" And he just starts smashing their computer. This is so good. It's got so many good jokes. I love like I said, that it's a shining reference to where it even ends with him getting frozen outside and the family walking up and Sheila going, or not Sheila. What the hell is Randy's wife's name? Sheila's
Sharon.
Sharon. Yeah, Sharon. Where Sharon goes, "Do you want us to go get some McDonald's or something?" He goes, "Yeah," because he's frozen. What do you want? Chicken nuggets and fries and a high C orange.
Oh.
You want any sauce? Sweet and sour sauce. It's just so, it kills me.
That was my go-to order my entire childhood. The chicken nugget Happy Meal with an orange high C. They don't have high C orange anymore.
They took that away from us, those bastards.
Now
but they gave us spicy chicken nuggets, which are good.
They're okay. They're good. I like all of the other spicy chicken nuggets as well. But I mean, all I have is orange Fanta at McDonald's now.
Yeah, which is fine.
I've switched to Dr. Pepper anyway.
Yeah, but I love Nightmare on FaceTime. I'm gonna go watch it tonight because I forgot about it, and I'm gonna watch it tonight. Yep, it's so good. I love it. My number 8, Nightmare on FaceTime from South Park.
Alrighty.
Moving down to my number 7. My number 7 is an episode from The Simpsons that is not Treehouse of Horror. It is the only Halloween episode The Simpsons have done that's not Treehouse of Horror. It is called Halloween of Horror.
They still had to have the of horror in there.
That's right. Did you watch this, Cody?
I have not gotten a chance to watch this episode yet. There's
one to watch. It was this one. Take your iPad with you or tablet something when you go camping and watch it. It's great. It concerns. I wish they would do this more often, where they would do just a standalone Halloween episode. Still do the Treehouse of Horror. Mm-hmm. Like I said last week, I think when we were talking about, like, Flanders even comes over at one point and says to Homer, "Oh, you're gonna go out back and tell 3 spooky stories in the treehouse?" And Homer goes, "No, we're gonna do that next week." We've got a psycho parody with Skinner and his mother, and it says like 2 other things, but no, it's a standalone Halloween episode, and it's awesome. You get to see them decorating the house for Halloween and how they do Ever Scream Terrors. But it's about them going to like a Halloween Horror Nights thing, but at Krusty Land, and how Lisa thinks she's old enough this year to do it, and she just gets completely terrified. She thinks everything's real. She ends up like having the whole place closed down for like 30 minutes to reset because they have to stop because she's so terrified. She just starts speaking in tongues. Homer inadvertently pisses off seasonal workers at like Apu's Halloween pop-up store, and they get fired. So the main story is them seeking revenge against Homer, and they like do like a Purge Strangers type parody where like they're trying to break into the house to kill Homer or something. It's about him and Lisa having to run through the house and not get killed, and it's fun. The side story is Bart doesn't get to go trick-or-treating and misses all the houses, so Marge is trying to drive him around to find like the best places to trick-or-treat.
Still running.
Yeah, it's great. It's just it's got a lot of fun Halloween atmosphere, and I love it. When they aired it, whenever that was, 4 or 5 years ago, I was happy to see them do that. Happy to see them say, yeah, we're still having Treehouse of Horror, but we had a good idea for a Halloween episode, and we're going to do it. I feel like I like they did that because I like them to think that they don't have to just do Treehouse of Horror. You could do that. You have a good Halloween episode idea, do a Halloween episode idea. And they did, and it's awesome. And it's definitely one I've watched every year since it aired. I love it. It's awesome. Halloween of Horror. I
was just checking. I mean, last time when I looked last week, Treehouse of Horror was set to air last night as time we were recording this, but it actually didn't, and I don't know why.
Nope. When I checked my recordings yesterday afternoon to see what I had to, each day I have to go on and I have so many things I record and make sure everything's set. It was set to be last night. Treehouse of Horror, Simpsons was supposed to be on, or Family Guy was supposed to be on. And then when I went there at like 8 o'clock, baseball was on. So it's like they just decided all of a sudden, nope, we're going to push all that. They didn't even push it to like 1 a.m. or anything. No, they just off the schedule.
Yeah, Treehouse of Horror is November 1st now.
See, that's so stupid. It's so dumb. They were finally going to do a Treehouse of Horror before Halloween, and sports. Now, granted, it's baseball. I like
It's
baseball. Football, I'd be even more pissed. But it's just like, come on.
Yeah. Oh well.
Is what it is. But my number 8. Nope, 7. Halloween of Horror from The Simpsons. Cody, what's your number 7?
All right, my number 7, sticking in the Fox Sunday night area. I mean, we got Family Guy, Simpsons.
So, which American Dad episode is it?
Best Little Horror House in Langley Falls. Which again, so American Dad, their Christmas episodes are fantastic. They've done a couple Halloween episodes. This one is this one is really their only full Halloween episode. They've also done they did their own Poltergeist parody. They've done
horror parodies.
They've done horror parodies. But this one is the Best Little Horror House in Langley Falls. The framing is
fun.
Yeah, Stan is trying to have the best haunted house in the neighborhood. And Buckle, the new neighbor who used to be a Disney Imagineer of all things, this guy that lived that they found living out in the woods. He used to be a Disney Imagineer, so he has the Haunted Mansion special effects. He has thunderclouds over. He has ghosts going around his house.
When the goblin dude comes
out of the mailbox,
out of the mailbox and screams something really obscene.
I'm gonna kill you, little bitch. It's awful. Half his lines are censored. He has the pumpkin car, and Stan just wants Francine to be scared of his house, and to try to get the scariest thing, he gets a bunch of serial killers from prison,
death
row inmates, puts them in the basement, and it's like looking at a shark behind glass. There's no real thrill to it, so Roger lets out the serial killers.
one guy's painting.
Mm-hmm.
I think another guy's reading a book.
One of them's got a guitar or something. Bad. Yeah, they're just sitting there, Hannibal Lecter style, doing nothing because there's nothing they can do that's actually scary when they're behind the bulletproof glass. But so
that's right. Roger lets them
out, and they all start attacking the Smiths, and you do get the side story, which I was thinking about it when I was put this on my list. You get the side story of the kids, Steve and the guys going out trick-or-treating and with Toshi's sister Akiko. Yeah, because Steve is trying to date Akiko, which what I was thinking about is we have not seen her in a while, and I cannot remember the last episode she was in, if it was a goodbye episode for her or something. I don't know. But yeah, you get.
I always liked the opening of the episode with Steve having his dream where he's playing tennis, and I just love every time he hits it. It kills me every time. It's so good.
And Francine or Stan scares him out the window, and it's just as he lands and breaks his arm.
And then when he fixes his arm, he goes he does it again.
that noise that he does the whole time. Yeah, super fun episode, a good Halloween episode. Best little horror house in Langley Falls. No Dolly Parton here. So moving down to my number 6. My number 6 is one of those episodes that did not air on or around Halloween, but it's a full-on horror parody. It always reruns around Halloween. And I think the original broadcast was during some little spooky sleepover season thing, that was in February on USA Network. So my number 6 from Psych is Tuesday the 17th. Do you watch Psych?
It's not on my list. I've seen this. I've watched quite a few episodes of the show. I remember watching this one when it aired because they advertised, a Friday the 13th.
It's a full-on Friday the 13th parody.
One of the first things. This was one of the first things I ever bought when I first got my iTunes account years ago. It was one of the first things I bought was this episode off iTunes to watch it again.
Oh, wow.
It's not on my list, though, but it's a fun one.
I always liked Psych. I watched all the way through. I still haven't watched the second movie. I don't know why I haven't watched the second movie. Probably because I don't have Peacock. But it was a full-on parody of Friday the 13th, right down to the opening scene is them at their camp Tiki Maha, which I read in the trivia. Tiki Maha is Titi Haha or Kiki Mama, whatever, however you want to interpret the sound. And after the first kill in the episode, the Friday or the Tuesday the 17th flies in like the Friday the 13th logo, and it breaks the glass. And I forgot how close of a parody it was to Friday the 13th, especially to where the killer in the episode is basically Roy. No, who's the one? Which Jason had the bag over his head? Was that a Jason still, or was that Roy?
So Jason.
That was a Jason.
That was part 2.
Part 2. Ooh.
He gets the mask in 3.
He gets the mask in 3. So yeah, Jason part 2. That the serial killer in overalls with the burlap sack on his head, killing people with an axe, machete, whatever weapon he can find. I like the premise of they were reopening the camp to be a horror thrill camp. That was like the original reason they were reopening the episode. And I think something like that would be somewhat successful. You might get those people that are a little bit too serious and actually end up hurting the killer or fighting back a little too hard. You would almost need a Westworld situation to where if you could hurt them, it would be a robot or something. Exactly. Now I want Westworld to be real. Friday the 13th in Westworld. Horror world.
Yeah. That would be fun because when he breaks down and becomes self-aware.
Exactly.
You got a problem.
You do. Bigger problems.
You got a panic on your hands on the 4th of July.
Can't escape Jaws references with you, can we?
No. No, this was a fun one. Like I said, I liked this. I watched it when it aired because I remember seeing an ad for it, and I was like, that looks like fun. You know me, I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan.
Yeah.
Speaking of Friday the 13th, I just got last week, they released
the Shout Factory.
Scream Factory, Shout. Well, it's this either or. It's the same thing.
Okay.
The special deluxe collector's edition. It's awesome.
Is it all of the movies?
All of them.
All of them,
including like different versions. So like part 1, they've got theatrical and unrated cut, which has like extra gore and stuff.
Oh wow.
The packaging's cool. It's the same company that did the Halloween one that I've got, that really cool deluxe box set for Halloween. And It's got all new features for all of them, all like really nice 4K restorations of all of them. And they finally took part 3 and did the real 3D treatment to it.
Oh.
Gone is the red and blue, but you have to have a 3D
TV
to play it. So I put the disc in the other day to watch it, just to watch part 3. I was like, I'm going to watch part 3. And it comes up, it knows I have a VR. It come up and said, would you like to watch this in 3D on your PSVR? And I was like, my PSVR can do 3D? I didn't know this. So I didn't watch the whole thing because I didn't have time, but I watched like certain moments I knew where the 3D moments were in VR.
Like the eye coming through.
Yeah, in 3D. And it's really cool. It was the first time I watched this movie like with a full-on like grin on my face, because I was watching it the way it was intended and getting the experience like Jason at the end when he gets the axe in the head and he's coming towards the camera like this, like genuinely, it didn't scare me obviously, but genuinely made me think like I could see how that would scare people in the audience back in the 80s, because like he's reaching out, like his hands literally do like in 3D, especially in the real 3D, which is done really well. It was awesome. It was really cool watching the movie. And granted, I had to watch it with the headset on. But still,
cool. That's fantastic that you were able to do that. Experience it experience something new like that you've seen dozens of times, but a new level to it.
Especially because like they've discontinued 3D TVs. They've discontinued Blu-ray 3D players or 3D Blu-ray players. You know, I mean, you can't really get them anymore. So I remember like thinking, it's cool they did this, but I'll never be able to see it. But it is what it is. I've still got the DVD that's got the blue and red. Old ass 3D. But then, like I said, when I put it in, it come up and said, "You want to watch it?" I was so happy. And I will before Halloween put the headset on and watch the whole thing from start to finish, because it's cool. Like the credits, you know, when they come out in the beginning, like it was fun. It was really. I can
just imagine like when it asked you that. Yes.
I pretty much do. Like after the initial like, wait, what? Yeah. Let me plug this baby in. Pop the headset on. Oh. That was cool. But yeah, no, this was a fun episode of Psych. I haven't watched the whole series like you have, but I know for sure I watched this one because it was a Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th parody. Full on, and, you know, there was a nice twist. And, I mean, I even think, like, the parts of the episode that were at the camp were shot on film to make it even look like a grainy old horror movie.
Make it, or they added a filter
or they edited it.
To
filtered it.
Film grain or whatever. Which is cool. That box set, they cleaned all that shit up.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really good restoration of all the movies. And then you have, like, you know, part 8 and all that shit.
Right.
But I'm very curious to watch. I don't like Jason Goes to Hell. but that movie's notorious for having really gory effects that were just butchered by the MPAA. Well, there's the unrated cut for that, and you can finally see it the way it was intended. And I haven't watched it yet, but I'm really excited to pop it.
Has that not been released before? I'm
excited to watch Jason Goes to Hell. You could see stills, and you could see like really bad versions of the scenes like on YouTube, but this is actually like cleaned up, edited back into the movie the way it was supposed to be.
It's awesome that they get the rights for stuff like that and do that.
Yeah, same with part 2. They have it's not edited back in, but you can watch the extended scenes that were cut for gore.
Okay.
Like that famous when that couple are having sex and he spears them through the floor, or spears them like through them and hits
to the bed.
Floor. You actually, in the movie, you just see him stab. You don't actually see it pure skin. You just see it come from under the bed with the blood.
Right.
Well, you actually can watch the scene the way it was intended now, where you actually get to see it, and it was much gorier. It was cool. They did a good job with this. Just like the Halloween box set, they did a really good job with making it worthwhile, other than just, hey, look, you're getting these movies again.
Right.
You know? So, yeah. Cody, anything else on Psych?
No, I think that's just about it. It was awesome parody and awesome bringing in all the horror elements. Really a gruesome episode for Psych, honestly, looking at it. Nick, what's your number 6?
That was fun, but you had to. You're doing a Friday 13th parody. You got to go for it. My number 6 is an episode from Home Improvement, who was notorious for having a lot of really good Halloween episodes. They didn't. I noticed a lot of these shows didn't start doing Halloween episodes till like season 2. It's weird they choose like to wait. But they started in season 2. And the first one they did is really good. They had a couple that were really good. But my favorite was I Was a Teenage Tailor.
Okay.
Teenage Tailor, which was a Halloween episode where it's basically a prank war between the 2 oldest boys and the parents. The first episode they did is fun. You know, the second one's good, where they try to make Tim think he's got a big fan that's after him to kill him, whatever. But I always like this one because the kids were old enough to be able to like hold their own against the parents. You know, so like they put the head in the microwave to scare the mom, so she gets all pissed off and sad and scared about it, and they keep pranking them. So they decide to get back at them by making them think that, you know, this guy comes to the house and he's this creepy dude, which I like the actor. He was in Billy Madison. He's on Breaking Bad. He's the guy that owns the junkyard. And he acts to them like he's this guy who grew up in that house, but maybe he's an escaped convict who's there to see the house because he killed his brother years ago. And they're just basically trying to scare the kids to make them think there was a murder in the house and this guy. But then they flip it and make it even more fun because they find out it's fake.
Okay.
Because Al blows it, because that's what Al does.
I like Al.
And then it ends up, you know, they're like, oh, it's Tim's Halloween guy. Oh, okay. But then the parents find out they blew it, and they flip it even more to where then it becomes this guy comes to the house and is himself, but says, your parents were supposed to pay me and they haven't. Give me my money. And the kids are like, Randy's like, well, we don't have any money. And he goes, well, I'm not leaving till I get paid. You know, so they go even further. Like, okay, our plan was blown by Al, so let's go even further, you know. And the kids try to prank them by making them think they're crying because they're upset that this guy's going to kill them, you know. And it's just this back and forth Halloween prank war. And I've always liked shows when they use pranks for like a Halloween centric episode. And Home Improvement did that a lot throughout their series, which was let's prank each other. And it's always been a blast. But this one was always my favorite. And in a sea of good Halloween episodes, this one was the one I always put above because I liked the whole, you know, this guy's a psychopath, you know, and just the back and forth pranks.
Yeah.
I Was a Teenage Tailor, my number 6 from Home Improvement.
All right. So that puts us in the middle of our episode.
Speaking of Home Improvement, do we want to talk about that now, or are you going to have a Home Improvement later?
All right, we can talk about it now, or we can talk it later. I mean, it's not good news. That's the situation we have.
Was it the oldest boy getting arrested? Is that what you saw?
Yeah, Zachary Ty Bryan was arrested for domestic assault, which
I saw that. When you texted me that, my first thought was I went to Google to type into like, oh, maybe they announced like a revival or something. You know what I mean?
Well,
and then I saw
they
that,
did.
I was like, oh, did they?
Tim Allen and Richard Karn. Well, Tim Allen and Richard Karn are going to do a mini series. I think they're doing like a 3-episode Tool Time.
They're not playing themselves,
a history show.
Are they?
It's a reality show. First day of shooting, Tim Allen and Richard Karn filming together for a show. They're co-hosts. Competition show called Assembly Required on the History Channel.
But they're not playing Tim Taylor.
No, it's Tim Allen and Richard Karn co-hosting this competition
I've seen
show
them
on
talk
History
about
Channel.
that, or Tim Allen post about that. Gotcha.
Yeah, so
he got arrested.
that's the good news about it. But yeah,
the kid got arrested. It's sad to see that, but it is what it is, I guess. Don't beat your wife.
I don't see what else any of them have been doing. Like,
no,
Patricia Richardson hasn't been doing a lot.
They all pretty much have cameoed on Tim Allen's show. I know Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Yeah, he's popped up on there a few times.
Richard Karn has a few times.
Yeah, the guy who played Wilson didn't, but he's been dead for years.
He's been dead. Yeah.
But anyway, that does suck, but go watch Home Improvement. It's a good show.
All right. So, in the middle of every episode, we will pay a few bills. We're going to take a small break for the audio listeners, YouTube listeners, viewers. We're still here. You're not really getting much extra because we jump back into the show right now.
We're just going to freeze like on Family Guy when they do cutaways.
Well, I mean, now we check our phones and, 3 new text messages. Yeah, they can wait. I signed up for a Costco membership today. Gonna get some bulk paper towels, toilet
Sam's
paper.
Club is better.
I did a little. I posted on Facebook, Sam's Club or
fair,
Costco.
I don't have a Costco.
You don't have a Costco around here. I guess it sounds like there's one opening because somebody from back home commented, "We're getting a Costco soon." It's like, okay,
no, we are. Which I'll be curious to try it out. But Sam's has always been my go-to. Actually, I have to take a trip to Sam's. That's where I get my Halloween candy every year. Because I can always buy the full size.
I've always
I always buy them in fundraiser kits.
Yeah, the fundraiser kits at Gordon's, Sam's, Costco. Maybe I'll buy some Halloween candy, even though I don't get trick-or-treaters. That was the most disappointing thing when I moved into my house. Like, when I lived back where I lived before, I was in the back of a neighborhood, and everyone from that neighborhood just trick-or-treated in that neighborhood. I'd go through 3, 4, 5 bags of candy. First year I moved into this house after I bought it. I'm in a city. I moved into the big city. I just bought 2 bags of candy because I didn't know. I was able to, go around and get more. I got 2 trick-or-treaters. Each one got a whole bag of candy. No.
Why not, right?
It was such a disappointment.
That's disappointing, but look at the bright side. You had a bunch of candy.
I had a bunch of candy.
Like last, what sucks about like last year was, I don't really eat candy anymore because I can't. It would be like a week's worth of points. Like last year, it was rainy and snowy, and we had like nowhere near as many kids as usual. I was left with like a whole bowl of full size candy bars.
Your niece was happy, and your brother was pissed.
Yeah, Halloween was on a Thursday last year, so if anything, I had to wait a day because Friday, like the weekend, definitely Friday's my full on whatever the hell I want cheat day. Halloween being on a Saturday this year, any leftovers, they're gone.
I'll come trick-or-treating at your house. I'll bring all my friends, and we'll just take whatever's left. It'll be like 4:00 in the afternoon. We'll take everything then. Forget the kids.
I'm going up to that, so you'll have to let me know when you're going up. I'll probably be there for a while, longer than you will, because I'm going to go up and give a hand and shit for a bit. But I'll be leaving
volunteer.
You trick or treat,
Yeah, for sure.
Let me know when you're going up. See you.
We'll do.
But anyway,
back to the show.
Back to the show.
Welcome back, everybody.
My number 5.
So yeah, we left off with Nick's number 6, which was I Was a Teenage Werewolf. I Was a Teenage Tailor, from the Home Improvement situational comedy based on the comedy stand-up of Mr. Tim Allen. Nick, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is the only Halloween episode this show has done, which again, the show always airs in the fall, so I don't get why they don't do more. But my number 5 is an episode from season 6 of this show. It is called Who Got Dee Pregnant? From It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I knew it was going to be on your list because I saw that it was a Halloween episode.
I love it. It's so good. They did a fun Halloween episode. The crux of the episode is this season, the actress Caitlin Olsen was actually pregnant. So the whole season leading up to it, you knew she was pregnant, but you didn't know who knocked her up. So they finally got to the point where they needed to do an episode about it because she was starting to show. So there was no way they were going to be able to hide it. Right. And in the end, you find out that it's a surrogate. It's not one of them. But that's the point of the episode, is them trying to figure out who it was, because she is so fed up with them being mean to her. In the very beginning, she lies and says, one of you is the father. And then, Who Got Dee Pregnant? The title pops up, which they always do in such a fun way.
Isn't one of them her brother?
About them. Yeah. That's why it's messed up, is one is her brother and one is her father, even though he's not actually her father. They found out. before that. No, he's their father.
Okay.
They just found out he's not actually their father. They found out that their mom cheated around.
Okay.
But
spoilers.
They
geez.
end up finding. Yeah, exactly. How dare they? Or how dare I? But she says it happened on Halloween, like the year before, or a few months before that. So the whole episode is a flashback to them to the Halloween party, trying to figure out who got Dee pregnant. And it's just a fun episode because you get to see them all in costume. Frank dresses up as Spider-Man, but he's Man Spider, not Spider-Man. So he's got a black outfit with just the arms.
Yeah.
I love Mac dresses up as Aragorn from Lord of the Rings because chicks love that. But he goes, I'm from Lord of the Rings. I'm Viggo Morgenstein. Dennis, it's Viggo Mortensen, you idiot. The whole episode, he keeps calling him Viggo Morgenstein. Charlie, I think, is the Phantom of the Opera. I believe Dennis is Mario at one point, but I don't think he starts out that way. Dee is dressed as an angel, but the whole episode she gets more and more like she looks more and more like a bird throughout the episode because they keep making the reference. They always do it. She looks like a bird. At one point, she gets feathers on her, and eventually she's got a beak. And eventually, when they turn around at one point, she's actually just an ostrich. That's a real life ostrich. And it's funny because they get Caitlin Olsen's doing the sound, so it's still her going making the ostrich noises. It's funny. And like I said, at the end they find out it's none of them. She just was a surrogate for a family.
Okay.
But it's just got so many good jokes. The McPoyles are there being creepy as all hell, as they always are, drinking milk while everyone else is drinking liquor. That's just fun. It showed that Philly could do. Yeah, it showed Philly could do a good Halloween episode. And like I said, I wish they would do another one. They've only done one Christmas episode too, and that Christmas episode is phenomenal just as well. But it's fun. I love these characters so much, and it was fun seeing them scramble to try to figure out who got Dee pregnant, and the horrifying at one point realization they think it's Dennis. Yeah, it's fun. I've always liked it. But yeah, so that's my number 5. Who got Dee pregnant from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Cody, what's your number 5?
So my number 5 is my last one from Fox Sunday nights. And I swear you, it's my last one from Fox Sunday nights. So my number 5 from probably my favorite TV show ever, from Futurama, my number 5 is The Honking. This was
not a Halloween episode, right? But it's a horror parody, right?
It's a horror. It originally aired November 5th. It aired right after Halloween. Yep.
Okay.
It was in their second. It was the first episode of their third season, and yeah, it aired right after Halloween.
I've seen this one, so I can actually talk about it.
You can actually talk about it. Yeah, it's a parody of a bunch of different horror movies. So you got The Werewolf, you got The Car, Christine. Pretty sure there's others in there that I'm missing, but Bender basically he has to go spend the night in this castle that he's inherited when his great uncle passes away, and it's the the traditional like Dracula's castle or vampire's castle, and I think it's Thermostat is the name of the city or village or whatever.
Probably
something like
stupid.
That. So they spend the night, and he gets caught up in the night, and they find him in the morning, and there's tire tracks going over him, which there aren't cars that drive on the road in the future. So we find out he turns into a werecar. So every night he turns into this car that just kills people, runs people over. The first couple people it runs over is a couple of people that are stealing stuff out of other cars. Builds up. He tries to run over Leela, tries to run over Fry. And they find out they have to kill the original werecar. So there's no silver bullets, or in this case, I think it was a silver potato that they stuffed in the muffler. But
I think so.
Yeah, silver potato in the muffler. Or kill the original werecar. So they find the original werecar in the Anti-Chrysler factory, because why not?
I forgot about that.
The original werecar was made from like the most evil parts of all of vehicles. It had the antenna from Hitler's car, the the windshield wipers from Knight Rider or from Kit, even though Kit wasn't evil, but his windshield wipers were. And they find this car, and he's crying, and we'll put you out of your misery. And saying, no, I love killing people. So he tries to kill them. He teams up with Bender. They're trying to kill Fry and Leela, and it's really great. It's a fun episode because they go around all over, like trying to find like the path of who the different werecars were. The abominable snowmobile, all of the different renditions throughout.
I liked it because they treated like the werewolf parody stuff well, to where like I like when Bender transforms. It's a cool transformation. It's cool.
His hands turn into the wheels, and his
they
body
actually
gets
do
big.
it justice in the sense that like it's horrifying. Like it's supposed to be, I think, an American Werewolf parody where like you really see it, and like when his face like elongates to become the front
grill
bumper and shit, the grill. Yeah, like it's really a fun episode. I remember it's been years since I've seen it, but I remember really liking it because I like horror parody stuff.
Yeah, horror parodies are super fun, and I really love Futurama. This wouldn't have been my number one. Say it's my favorite TV show, but not the best Halloween episode that I've seen of different shows. So I gave it a fair. It's a fair position for it in my list, I think. So that's my number. My number 5.
What's your 4?
So my number 4 has already been mentioned in passing in this episode. My number 4, from Home Improvement as well, is The Haunting of Taylor House.
That's why I didn't go into it too much.
The first Halloween episode they did.
I figured. That's why I didn't go into it.
Yeah. This was a fun episode.
That was honestly that one. The one where they make Tim think he's got the stalker, the fan, and the one I picked, all three, any given day could have taken that slot on my list.
Right.
I just chose the one I did because I was like, that one's fun. I'll put that one on there. But all three of these, of the ones I said, are really fun, and this one is no exception. It's great.
Yeah, Haunting of Taylor House. It has a lot of fun quirks in it. It's them again setting up the haunted house in the basement, which watching this and then watching another show on my list, when they just invite people into their house to do like the haunted basement stuff or the haunted house throughout the house, you can't do that nowadays. Hey kids, come on in and walk right through. Hey, from Beetlejuice to Vincent Price.
Especially not this year.
Yeah, especially not this year with the coronavirus.
I went from Beetlejuice to Robin Thicke.
Everybody shut up.
Because he wore that during a performance.
He did. Where was I going with this? Yes, The Haunting of Taylor House. I mean, I love the very end of this episode with Al in the box, and like Tim goes to let Wilson out, and they leave him in the box, and he's like, "Oh, they're just prop spiders," and there's a tarantula crawling, which I hope. I mean, it takes place in Detroit, but we don't have tarantulas like that in the wild. I hope.
No.
Not that I've ever seen.
Yeah. That was also something really cool I always loved about Home Improvement, is that it took place in our state. He was wearing he always wore
Detroit Lions shirt, or University of Michigan.
He wore a sweatshirt. Yeah, I mean, he wore a sweatshirt before in the series a lot of the school, the college, the university I went to. You know what I mean? Like it's really, that was always one of the fun things about the show. And I think if I remember the finale, they moved to like Traverse City or something.
I can't remember what it was.
They moved up north, I remember, because she got a job.
Yeah.
And he ended up quitting Tool Time to go let her do her dream or something like that. But
which, I mean, that's really awesome.
This is a fun one.
The pumpkin that Wilson carved of himself.
Of himself with the fence.
With the fence. Yeah. The pumpkin that Tim carved with the explosives at the beginning, or filling it with propane, scoring it and filling it with propane and just exploding it. That's something I would do.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a
Tim
fun
trying
episode.
to scare Al, Tim trying to scare the kids, the sideline of, the kid going through, the girl not dressing up in the couple's costume.
That always pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons this one maybe isn't on my list, is just because I always hate that storyline of like, because you were talking to so-and-so. It's like, oh, come on. It's like, I know they always make the joke kids are this angsty and what. It's like, that's just, I don't know. I never liked that. But I also.
But she ended up with Boy Meets World.
I was just going to say to Ryder Strong, like before Boy Meets World. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's kind of cool seeing him, before he really got big.
Which I never watched Boy Meets World.
I almost had a Boy Meets World episode on my list. It wasn't a Halloween episode, and that's why I didn't put it on there. But it was a horror parody where they did a parody of like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream. Actually, it was more Scream because the killer looked like, I think, the ghost face. I think correctly, but it was about Corey's angst of, or no, it was about Ryder Strong's characters, about angst of like everyone leaving or something. I don't know, but it was a fun one. Like they all die, but you end up finding it's not real.
Okay.
But like Jennifer Love Hewitt's in it. She's really funny. But I almost put that on there because that one was really good. But I was like, that's not a Halloween episode. I'm not putting it on there.
Which I did almost put, there was another Futurama horror parody episode, but it wasn't a Halloween episode. It was they did a parody of The Thing and Alien kind of all combined into one.
Yeah.
But anyway, so no, my number 4, Haunting of Taylor House. Fun. God, I need to rewatch more Tool Time or Home Improvement.
What's funny is rewatching this past week. I watched all the Home Improvement episodes, the Halloween ones. I sat there. I too sat there and I was like, yeah, I could sit and rewatch this whole series again because I watched it when it was on back in the day, a lot in reruns, and I was like, might be time to rewatch Home Improvement or at least start it because I finished The Boys. I have one episode of Bly Manor to finish on Netflix, and then I'll be like, I have nothing. Although Star Trek just started, but that's weekly. So, but I was like, yep, I think I can watch Home Improvement again, the whole series. It's a fun show.
Yeah, it is.
All right, my number 4 is a Fox show. And I think it was still on Fox at this time too. Now it's on NBC. But my number 4 is an episode from season 5 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine titled, appropriately enough, Halloween.
Isn't all of Brooklyn Nine-Nine's Halloween episodes like Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 3? Or no, that was a different show. I was
pretty much. Eventually, they did like Halloween, I think with the V for the 5th episode or something. I don't know.
I've never gotten into Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, you should. You'll love it. If you really sat and just hunkered down and watched it, the show is so damn funny.
I like Andy Samberg. I like Terry Crews. Wait, is Terry Crews in it?
It's great. It's so damn funny. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. It's such a good show. It's truly one of my favorite comedies of all time now. And it just gets better and better. Now it's on NBC.
More than Superstore?
I love Superstore. Superstore's had some good Halloween episodes. I almost threw Superstore on here because they have some really good ones too. I love Superstore. I remember a friend of mine a few years ago gave me shit because I like Superstore, and I was like, it's a fun show. Superstore has filled that hole in my heart that The Office left. Do you know what I mean? Like, it filled that hole that like a fun show with a really big ensemble of fun, interesting characters. And that's another one you should watch. Watch Superstore, Cody. But I put this one on here because it had more, not necessarily drama to it, but more stakes in the sense that what's fun about Brooklyn Nine-Nine is every Halloween episode is a heist. They do the Halloween heist. Started in the first episode, the first Halloween episode they did where Jake bets Captain Holt that he can steal, I think, his medal that hangs on his office wall by midnight on Halloween. And if he wins, Captain Holt has to do all of his paperwork for a week and say that Jake is a genius/detective, the world's greatest genius/detective. And if Jake loses, he'll work overtime without overtime pay for like 5 weekends or something. And it just stuck. So every Halloween episode every year is a new heist and a new heist and new heist, and they just ratchet it up bigger and bigger. Well, the 5th one they did, or the one that's on my list from season 5, was another heist, and they were trying to get a belt, like a championship wrestling belt, but it says, world's greatest detective. They always up the prize every season. And it's funny because Captain Holt, he's such a straight-laced, like, nerdy dude. Like, he's very uppity. He calls it a cummerbund instead of a belt. And they're like, it's a belt. He goes, it's ridiculous. This isn't a belt. Find me the belt loops that this would fit through. No, this is a cummerbund. It's like, just so great. But what I like about this one is it's got all the hallmarks of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's got goofy stuff happening, but this was by the time that Jake and Amy were dating in the series for at least a season or two, which they were always going like back and forth, and they finally did. But what made this one special is the end of it. You actually find out this whole heist this season wasn't Jake's goal to win. He could give a shit if he won. It was to get Amy to have the belt and think she won, so that when she read the back of it and saw the inscription, "Will you marry me?" that she would see that.
Aww. And
it was just such a great buildup for seasons to get to that point that when it finally happened and she turns around, he's on his knees or on one knee. That was like, what a great way to wrap that into the Halloween episode that we've come to love every season. Do you know what I mean? And it's not without its usual Halloween hijinks and comedy. Like, there's all like great stuff that happens throughout that's Halloween and fun. but ending it that way with that promise of, oh, well, now we're going to get to the wedding stuff was awesome. And I've always loved it. But what's fun is now that the show is on NBC, it does half seasons. They start airing in like January. So they're
NBC's
not
always
on
done
Halloween.
that.
Yeah. And they're not on Halloween now or around Halloween, but they still do a Halloween heist. You know, they still do it, even though it's not. And what's funny is the last season, I think they started with a Halloween heist, but Captain Holt's dog ate the infinity jewels that were the prize. So they had to wait for her to poop them out and then decide, okay, well, we'll continue this heist on the next available holiday that we'll celebrate. And so they pushed it to Valentine's Day, and then something else happened. They pushed it to Easter, you know, but it starts as a Halloween heist. But this one's always been my favorite just because of that added emotional storyline element too. This is when Jake finally asked her to marry him. And it's just,
right.
it's a fun episode. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
But they've definitely become the show that I look forward to their Halloween episode every season, just like we do some of these older shows like Home Improvement and stuff that always did one every year.
Right. Huh. Say again, I've never watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I will eventually.
One episode. You have watched one episode for sure because it was on after the Super Bowl one year, and you watched it with me.
And at that point, was I actually paying attention?
Yeah, I think it was the one where Adam Sandler was in it. Remember, they were at an auction.
Very vaguely.
That was the big seller for the episode after the Super Bowl. It was Adam Sandler guest stars in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Okay, yeah,
he played himself too.
I don't remember it, honestly. So,
damn you for letting him go. Okay, it's a Halloween reference. Moving down to my number 3. And I do appreciate you started last week's episode on audio with "I shot him 6 times."
just over and over again
Cody
because he
knows me.
repeats it.
Cody knows me. All right, my number 3 is from season 4 of a series I absolutely love. I've got the complete series of it on box set. I rewatch it a lot. I'll just throw an episode in here and there. Cody, I know, is slowly working his way through it. But my number 3 is from season 4 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It is called Fear Itself.
Oh, right.
Yeah, slowly. But he needs to go faster. He's got more time now.
I watched Stranger Things in 3 days. I can't watch Buffy that fast.
Yeah, maybe we can get a season done a couple days.
Yeah.
Put your mind to it. They did a Halloween episode earlier in the series, I think in season 2, which is a really fun one too, to where like this curse is put on all these Halloween costumes to where whatever you're wearing, you become that thing. So like Buffy is wearing a princess costume. Well, guess what? Now she's a damsel in distress princess. She's not the Slayer, you know. And I think Willow was wearing a ghost outfit. So guess what? She's a ghost. No one can see her.
I feel like I've seen that one.
That was season 2, so you've probably gotten
I may have seen that. Or I saw the description for it maybe when I was going through the episodes.
But this one I like because I like it more. And this one, season 4, is when they were in college. This was their first season, I think, in college. And this frat is having a college party, and they want it to be scary. So this guy gets a book of like old symbols in it and says, "Hey, this symbol is really spooky. Paint that on the floor. People will think it's like evil." Well, guess what? It's a real symbol, and it conjures a demon that turns everything to life or whatever in that haunted house, in their spooky haunted house. So basically, like, you know, that skeleton that was hanging, guess what? That's a real skeleton now, you know, or when he has a meat cleaver, you know, the spiders, those are all real spiders now.
Done.
And basically whatever and whatever, like, it technically is more about whatever your greatest fear is. It brings it more to life. So like when they get trapped in the house, Xander's fear around that episode is about his fear of being forgotten by his friends because he didn't go to college. So, you know, he's not doing what they're doing, and that's his greatest fear. So throughout the episode, they can't see him. He thinks they just are ignoring him, but no, they can't see him because his greatest fears come to life.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, what's his face? Seth Green. His greatest fear is accidentally turning into a werewolf at the wrong time and killing everybody. He's not really turning into a werewolf, but the evil makes him think he is, so he's all freaking out, you know. And it's a fun one. It has a lot of really good comedy to it. This was the season that the character Anya was really starting to take form, which she becomes like my favorite character in the entire series. She's the demon that actually becomes human and eventually falls in love with Xander, and she's just so damn funny. But he tells her, "You should come to the party, get a costume." She goes, "Well, I don't know what I would dress as." And he goes, "Well, dress as something scary. What scares you? Be that for Halloween." Well, she shows up in this big-ass bunny outfit. Why are you wearing that? Bunnies are terrifying. Have you looked at their little noses? Like, It's just so damn good. Giles actually isn't the watcher this season because he gets fired, so he's actually excited to celebrate Halloween for once, so he's like got his house all decorated and whatnot. But the best joke of the episode comes at the end when they get to the top of the house and find the symbol, and they go, "We have to stop this demon." And they say something like, "But don't worry, it won't be conjured unless something happens." Well, they accidentally do it, and it starts to conjure the demon, and the floor starts shaking, and the floor busts open, and
like Ernest summoning the troll, and
kind of, and they're all like, "Oh crap!" And you see like a close shot of the demon rising up by the ground. He's all scary looking, and he goes like, "You will bow before me," and then the camera pans back, and he's like this tall. He's like an inch tall, and you hear his voice like, "You will bow," like he's just this little guy. And they just step on him and kill him. And at the end, the coda of the episode, the joke is Giles going, "Damn it. I wish I would have read this before we went there." And she throws her a picture, and Will says, "What's it say?" And there's a picture of the demon, and it says below it, "Actual size." It's so good. It's got the Buffy we love, which has actually like good story with it, where like Xander's whole thing with being afraid of being, left behind and whatnot. But also the black comedy you've grown to love with the series and whatnot with those types of jokes. And it's just a fun Halloween episode. Because like I said, the whole thing takes place in a haunted house. Like they designed a haunted house this frat has, and I love it. So my number 3, Fear Itself from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
All right. Moving over to my number 3. My number 3 is a show that I don't think Nick has watched. And I do highly recommend it. My number 3 is from a show called The Neighbors from 2012-ish. And
that feels like that was a lot longer ago.
I didn't realize it was this long ago because I watched through this whole series. It was only 2 seasons before it was canceled.
I watched the first few episodes. I remember watching it when it started, and I just fell off of it.
So the episode I'm choosing, they had 2 Halloween episodes, and I am picking Halloween-ween. It was the first Halloween episode they did. So the story of The Neighbors is it's a community of aliens that one of the aliens move out, so they have to sell the house, and 2 humans move in. And it's the humans, the Weaver family, basically showing the aliens how life on Earth is, how to behave, how to react, how to school and kids and families, and how to interact normally. So up until now, these aliens had no idea what Halloween was. It was just a bunch of monsters, a bunch of small little monsters trying to come into their neighborhood and wreak havoc. They went through like defense mechanisms. This episode starts out where there are archers training with flaming arrows, shooting at scarecrows to try to, practice shooting the children. And it's the whole episode. There's, 2.5 main stories, as is tradition with most sitcoms. There's a story and B story. So the A story is the parents teaching the other community members how to survive Halloween, or not how to survive Halloween, but what Halloween is about, how to give candy out to kids, convincing them that they are just children. And then the other side of it is the kids in the show are, they're starting to get older to where trick-or-treating with their parents isn't cool anymore. So the parents are dealing with losing their kids to, being older. And it's a big, so you see the interactions between all of that. At the end, they kind of finagle their way back into being needed by the kids. Like, the parents need to stick around to take or hold all of the little girl's candy, because every time she goes to a house and they think she hasn't been given any candy, they give her more candy. So she starts kind of pulling a scam on the families. The young boy is, realizing that the girl that he's trying to hang out with wants to be his girlfriend, and he still thinks a little bit that girls are gross. The oldest girl, the funniest joke in this that I forgot about until right before it happened in this episode. So the girl decides she doesn't want to be like a topical political costume anymore, because she was originally going to go as Obamacare. I don't know how that was going to work. So they decide, her and the older alien kid, Reggie Jackson, they decide to go as a doctor and a slutty nurse. And when she goes to pick him up dressed as a slutty nurse, she gets there and he is also dressed as a slutty nurse, because just And so, I mean,
he didn't know which one
he didn't know which one he was going to be. You know, I assumed you wanted to be the doctor because you're smarter. So,
yeah.
Yeah, so there was a couple jokes based around that. And just the whole thing, like the main alien leader did not want to accept Halloween at all, so he's like still trying to scare all of the other community members, like, these are monsters, they want to take over your homes, because they open the gate and it just opens slowly, and as soon as it opens, the kids just rush and scare them all back into their houses. And it's his war to win. His father was a warrior, his grandfather was a warrior, he needs to win a war, and Halloween was that. And yeah, it's a fun show. It was a fun episode. It's always fun seeing the fish out of water things. So I mean, the aliens, which they all took the names of famous athletes: Larry Bird, Jackie Joyner-Kersee, Reggie Jackson, Dick Butkus. It's all fun.
Like I said, I remember watching the show, a few episodes. I didn't stick with it, but I liked what I saw.
Yeah, I got into it. It was only 2 seasons. And I think the finale, they actually like went back to their home planet. So they were given enough time
They pulled a third rock.
They were given enough time to film a finale. I think The Neighbors is like a spiritual sequel to Third Rock from the Sun all the way through, minus William Shatner as the big giant head.
And John Lithgow.
And
French Stewart.
And
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Was Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that? I couldn't remember that from last week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So, yeah, my
and
number 3.
Eventually, he found out who Batman was because he was an orphan, too. Cody, what's your number 2?
Boo. My number 2 is Boo. A Roseanne Halloween.
Punt.
Okay.
Well, it's my 1. I'd rather talk about it when it's my 1.
All right.
My number 2. Might as well save it for the top dog. My number 2 is an episode from season 2 of The Office called Halloween.
All right.
First Halloween episode they did in the series. The Office had some really good Halloween episodes throughout the series. They also had some really good Christmas episodes. But the first Halloween episode is my favorite of the Halloween ones they did. This is the one where Michael finds out that for budgetary reasons, he had to fire someone, but didn't, and put it off and put it off and put it off. And now here on the spookiest day of the year is the cutoff. He has to fire someone by the end of the day or he's in big trouble. So the whole episode is him grappling with who does he fire, he at one point tries to fire Stanley, but just can't. He goes to fire Creed and Creed convinces him to fire someone else, which he does. He ends up firing the person that Creed tells him to fire. The side story is Pam and Jim pranking Dwight to make him think that some other company from another city or state wants to hire him. So they send him because they sent him like a fake resume or something. He ends up screaming at the people on the phone because karate skills actually should be on a resume. I remember the moment where Dwight originally tells him he's going to quit because he got a different job, but then comes in and says, "Oh no, I don't have to quit now. I ended up not taking that job because I was working here." And Michael gets all pissed off because that would have made his problem much easier. Exactly. But it's just a fun one. It was the first one you got to see like the costumes. This is the one where Michael's got the double. He's got the head of him. Like the second head. It's I don't know. I always really liked it. Like I said, the whole series has had really good Halloween episodes throughout the whole 8 seasons. But this will always be my favorite because it was the first, and I just like that storyline of putting Michael in such a predicament because he always looked at everyone at the office as his family, and so he hates having to fire anybody.
Who did he end up firing?
Devin,
I can't remember.
So who cares?
Devin. Okay.
Yeah, Devin. Someone no one gives a shit about. Not a main character.
Yeah,
but it ends with him smashing a pumpkin on Michael's car because he's pissed off.
Because
I've always liked it. Yeah, I've always liked it. It's a fun one. So yeah, my number 2 is from The Office called Halloween Season 2.
All right, Nick, what's your number 1?
It's a punt because it's my number 1. We always do that.
I know. I get it. Completely.
Save the discussions for 1.
It's my number 2.
Is Boo. Of course it's Boo. It's the first time episode they ever did for Roseanne.
Was it the first one?
I honestly could have literally just said my number 1. Yeah. First one, Season 2.
Okay.
I honestly could have, for my number 1, just said my number 1 is Roseanne Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all fantastic fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a DVD of just the Roseanne Halloween episodes.
Oh, wow.
Like they put that out because their Halloween episodes are so good and were so iconic that they just put out a Roseanne Halloween DVD, and I watch it every year. I put it in and just go down the list.
All right.
But the first is the best. The first is the best.
The first is the one that I actually remembered stuff from. That's why
House.
I picked it and rewatched it. And...
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing of them doing the haunted house in their house is awesome. You know,
again, one of those things. Trick or treat. All right, come on in. It's just
it's fun. I like them opening the door and you've got DJ, but it's John Goodman's voice. Welcome to the tunnel of terror. Yeah. John Goodman is the creepy scientist. I've got a splitting headache, and he's got but the best scare in their house is when they pull up the thing and it's Jackie with the teeth and like she's the head underneath the pan.
I've been the head under the pan before.
Yeah, you have. And the hand and
and the scarecrow.
We stuck Cody under a table many times at my house, which was fun.
Not comfortable.
No, not at all, but it worked. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
You would not believe how many times kids just have no awareness that there's something wrong, especially since the wind always blew the tablecloth in, so your feet were showing all the time. The kids just don't care. They saw a bowl of candy. They could give a shit that there's a head looking at them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But it was fun. But the main story of the episode, though, really is the prank war between Dan and Roseanne, which I love. It's so much fun. I love that Dan ends up, having this guy who he's potentially going to have a job with come to the house on Halloween. But Roseanne gets this guy to be a part of the prank.
I loved how easy it was. It's like, how far can you go? You lead.
You lead. I know, and I love it. This is a $3,000 tie, and he actually has a heart attack. And what are you doing? Getting back at you, Dan. But my favorite prank of the whole episode, though, is the end when she's out in the garage. And that one's good, too. But when in the garage, she turns and he's walking towards her with the chainsaw and the hockey mask, But the final one is good, though. When,
she's on the phone with her mother-in-law.
Coming to stay?
Or her mom.
For a month, the master. It's just fun. It's great. It set the tone for all the Roseanne Halloween episodes that were to follow. That they were always going to go really outlandish with the costumes. I mean, every season you
the costumes were great.
Go, how does this, low level, family who the whole crux of the series is that they don't have a lot of money, they work job to job, but make it work. How do they afford this lavish, Halloween display?
That's where all their money goes.
These costumes. Pretty much, but it was always fun. I always loved the one where they're at the lodge and Dan and Roseanne are the ventriloquist and the ventriloquist dummy, where she's the dummy on his lap. That one's fun. But this one, like I said, it is my favorite. It's the first one they did. It's just great.
So one of the jokes that got me to laugh again was when they're talking about like, what do we do if they don't give us candy? And Jackie's going through like all of the different pranks, and Roseanne's just over there. Is that right, officer? Or she was a cop.
Officer. Yeah, that one's fun. I like when she's trying to prank Dan to make him think that she's getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
With the toaster. And he walks in and goes, and he screams and grabs it and goes, I've always hated burnt toast.
Or when she's fake choking and she passed out on the floor and he just walks out of the room and
walks away.
And she just yells, I hate you.
That's so good. It's just fun.
That's Home Improvement and Roseanne. I forgot how great both of those shows were.
And even the one season of the reboot Roseanne they did when she was actually in it when they first came back,
before it was
still
the Connors
a really
again.
Good season.
Or before it turned into the Connors.
Which makes it so unfortunate that she's such a piece of shit that she did what she did and ruined her career to where they ended up canceling Roseanne, but now they do the Connors. The Connors is just as good. If you love Roseanne, Cody, watch the Connors.
Because it's still John Goodman, right? John Goodman and
it's all of them. It's everybody except her.
Okay.
Yeah, they just wrote her off the show. It's everybody but her. I think season 3 starts this week, actually, or it would be out now by the time people are watching this. And they've continued last season with the Halloween episode. They brought it back.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll do one this season. But yeah, the Connors is just as good because it's the same writers. It's the same crew as the original show. You just don't have Roseanne, which honestly, I wondered how it was going to work when they first started it without her.
Right.
It's fine. It's fine. They pretty much now have added Katie Sagal.
Okay.
And it makes it great.
I like Katie Sagal.
Thinking, like,
Futurama.
She's great. They slowly have been building her character to be more of a bigger character. And I think this season she's going to be an even bigger character. And I'm happy with that because, Married with Children, you got her back. And I love Katie Seagal, Sons of Anarchy. But I do recommend, Cody, you love Roseanne from before. Watch The Conners. It's a very good spiritual sequel. And you can even watch, like I said, that first season of Roseanne from when they came back. That's really good too.
I think I watched the first episode of the reboot.
Yeah, and the only problem with that, and I definitely agreed with the problem when it happened, was that they tried to bring politics into it to where the character of Roseanne was a Trump supporter.
Okay.
And I fundamentally disagreed with that, not because I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm fine with that. If you want to do that in a series, that's fine. But character-wise, Roseanne would never have been a Trump supporter, ever. That show was always about the working family. It was always about helping, the poor, being more. She just would never have been a Trump supporter. And a lot of people thought that when the show started, that they wrote that in because she is in real life. So she wanted that in the show. And it's like, but that's not the character. But they really only dealt with that in like the first episode. And then the rest of the season was just back to normal Roseanne. And it course corrected and became the show we all love. But the Halloween episodes were the best of the original series. And Boo was certainly my favorite.
Okay. So
Cody, what's your number one?
So my number one, I don't know if I can choose a specific one yet. So I'm going to say Treehouse of Horror. Well,
because we're, spoiler alert, doing an entire episode of these, I didn't put any of these on my list.
So, yeah, and I figured that when you put Halloween of Horror. But, I mean, Treehouse of Horror is, like, the quintessential, what I go to on Halloween. Like, I always look forward to it. I've watched every single one.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And so I'm going to say
be clear,
Treehouse of Horror
would be on my list. This would be on my list if we weren't doing a whole episode of it. But I thought I'll save Treehouse discussion when we get to it. But if we had to, this would have been on
and
my
we
list.
can save discussion for it too. We can just have this be our announcement that we're going to do a whole episode of our top 10 Treehouse of Horror segments or episodes. I still haven't decided how we want to do that. I'm sure there are definitely some episodes that have some stinkers and some good episodes and some good segments.
That's why I think you do segments.
I think we have to do segments. So here in a couple weeks, probably after Halloween, because traditional Simpsons fashion, we got to do it in November. We'll do a full-on top 10 Treehouse of Horror segments. So as of right now, I'm not going to say a specific Treehouse of Horror, but I mean
just in general, the
series itself, 31 as of next week, the weekend after next. They did, how Treehouse of Horror number XXX was episode 666 of The Simpsons.
That's so perfect.
It figured perfectly in there.
This was another show though that didn't start until season 2.
Season 2, yeah, the second season.
Roseanne, same deal. Season 2, like
Home Improvement was season 2.
It's weird these shows, that they
must be scared during their pilot season.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but that's always weird that like my brother was asking me a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Treehouse of Horror.
It was all the early 90s too.
Yeah, he goes, what season are they on? Like, what Treehouse of Horror are they on? And I said, he goes, how many Treehouse of Horrors have they done? And I said, well, just look at how many seasons they've done and just subtract one.
Subtract one. They're on season 32 right now. Treehouse 31 comes out. Was supposed to be last night, but is now going to be November 1st.
Yeah.
After Halloween.
After Halloween, but during the scariest week of the year. Election week.
There we go. And it's keeping us from doing a political topic.
Yeah.
Now changing your mind now. So those are our lists, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know why I made Nick explain how the show works, because I feel like now I'm obligated to tell you to share the episode. So,
it's your turn this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, tell your friends about the Get Ranked Movie podcast and vlog and videocast and YouTube channel and merchandise store. Tell your friends, share our getrankedmoviepodcast.com. Tell them to, go to our website, search for us on iTunes, Google Play, spread the word, share this post on Facebook when the episode airs, share this episode on YouTube. Is that how that works? On the episode, click the little subscribe down here. Click the thumbs up. Click the bell. Don't click the thumbs down. That's bad. Click on any cards that I put up in the corner linking to... Oh, I can't do that because we're not partnered. Get your friends to watch so we can be part of the YouTube partner program. Get us some extra revenue. Buy our merch. Share this on Facebook. What am I missing? Trick-or-treating is coming up in 2 weeks. Give us 5 stars on iTunes. Trick-or-treating is coming up in a couple weeks. Next weekend as of when this episode airs. So all of these kids that are coming, this is going to be an expensive Halloween. You think giving out full-size candy bars is bad? So what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the Apple store. You're going to buy their entire stock of iPods. Sign into your Apple account on that iPod. Don't put in your credit card because you don't want these kids to start, whatever. That's your own sharing. That's your own doing there. Yeah, turn on family sharing. Turn on permissions. Download this podcast onto that iPod. Do they still even make iPods by themselves? Mm-hmm. Okay. Download this episode onto every single one of those iPods.
Touches for sure.
Yeah.
I know I bought my niece one for Christmas.
And every trick-or-treater that comes by, don't give them candy. Don't be that house that gives out full-size candy bars. That person's a loser. Who has the money to spend on full-size candy bars and give them out for free to small children?
Once a year.
Buy the iPods, and every trick-or-treater you get, put that iPod in their little pumpkin basket, in their little pillowcase, whatever. No, we're not judging. If you have a pillowcase, that's great. If you have a little pumpkin bucket, you're a little more well off. I mean, those things, buy it, use it once a year. I'm derailing. So give out a bunch of iPods. Have people listen to our episode. People don't have to worry about there being razor blades in an iPod. You have to worry about razor blades in apples. You have to worry about razor blades. You have to worry about warranty replacement. You have to worry about warranty messages in your Snickers.
It is an Apple iPod.
It is an Apple iPod. True. Well, you don't have to worry about razor blades in these apples.
Saw a picture the other day that was always check your kids' Halloween candy. It's a Snickers cut in half and it's open. I think I sent it to you. And it's the letter and you open it and it says, "I'd like to talk to you about your extended warranty."
Which is just fantastic. So... with that being said, I think that wraps it up for this week. And Nick, do you have anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. So for the Get Ranked Movie Podcast, I'm Cody.
And I'm Beetlejuice.
We'll see you next time. That was backwards. Get Ranked, a movie podcast, episode 81, Halloween TV episodes.